Hi Taurus, welcome in to your money and career tarot reading for the month of February 2023. I do want to thank you so much for joining me for this reading, but as we proceed, do keep in mind, this is general for your month, so just take what resonates and leave the rest behind. But I more than appreciate your love and support by liking this video, leaving me a comment, if not several, down below. Definitely claim the success that lies ahead for you throughout this specific month, and as well the subscriptions to the channel if you haven't joined this amazing Taurus tribe already. But to begin, I did pre-pull all of the cards for the most part for your reading. I do have Taurus Smart Chart if you're new to the channel, but I did pre-pull one small oracle to speak upon your month, as well as one tattoo tarot to speak upon the month as a whole, basically feeling like the overall energy, if you will, and then 6 tarot cards as well to give us a sense of how your month is meant to unravel, how it's meant to proceed, right? So a bit of a timeline in that sense. And then we'll further clarify with the small everyday tarot. But we're beginning with Abracadabra with Wings. You're the first to get this out of the signs that I've done, speaking upon fantastic good fortune and lucky chances. It's definitely a lucky sort of month where there's more to be expected than one would anticipate or just, expect, right? Stepping into the month and proceeding through it. It just feels like luck is on your side. You might have Aries in your chart, but I also feel like you should watch the Libra reading that I did. But I feel like you're seeing oneself feeling good about what you're jumping into, what you're continuing, what you're producing and developing, and things just thriving for you throughout the month in a very peaceful manner. There's a sense that those around you or you're wrapped up with are just at a distance from, even for some, however that works for you, might feel for you, or just you may sense they're a bit stressed, or you just might be picking up on or feeling the energy in a situation, or just other people's energy being a bit more stressful than yours in particular. Does that make sense? Even if you're empathic, it's like you might be picking up on other people's energies, but you're not being as affected as you would normally. And that's a good thing. But I got this as a bonus card, as well as the Sun card. And this reminds you to check out the Libra reading, because this was their main card, talking about fame and fortune, right? And your golden energy, being very sunny in your demeanor, but in a very peaceful manner. When you're accomplishing, developing, doing what you have to do, right? Succeeding in so many amazing ways throughout the month. They're saying it's a time to be a Taurus. But this came out as a bonus card, the Dragonfly card, talking about how you're truly bringing light to this world. And Spirit's saying people are noticing this. People are commending you for this. People are desiring your work, your presence. They're saying your commanding presence, okay? But in a non-abrasive way. Because you're just this light, right? And Spirit's saying you deserve all of the credit in the world due to this. And this is part of, I think, something you're continuing for a lot drawn to this reading is thriving. It's growing, it's prospering, it's bringing you money, right? It's bringing you growth all the meanwhile on more than one level. But all the meanwhile, some of which drawn to the reading are seeing something you're jumping into, because of which, right, in doing well, you're doing well through it because of all of which we just mentioned. All right, they're saying you don't have to be perfect throughout the month, and I know you don't, and you know this in general, but it feels like at times that reminder is helpful either way. But we're also continuing with the 10 of Cups, beautiful energy to shift on forward towards, to speak upon the month as a whole. It feels like you're easily connecting with people throughout the month, and this is helping you succeed. This is bringing a lightness, a happiness, a sunniness, a golden vibe to a situation, whether this is at work, could be at home, could be both. For a lot, I feel like it's more so work, but I feel like there's a focus on you needing to be comfortable at home, right? Now, does this mean you need to switch things up, move to a new place of residence, make certain adjustments when it comes to your perspective, your habits, when it comes to how things are set up, maybe needing to adjust certain aspects of your living situation, right? It's going to be different from case to case, but Spirit's saying as well, even if things aren't perfect and you have to make the best until the best, right? This could even go for your work environment, and making adjustments there if you can, right? do we need to think long term in a simplistic manner, in a realistic manner, and think, well, how do I move towards, do I need to move towards something new for oneself, right? Is where I'm at when I'm wrapped up with at this time, is this going to be realistic for the future? For a lot, I feel like no, right? But it has its benefits. It's on point factors for the time being. So there again is a need to make the best until the best and just kind of focus on the silver lining of where you're at, what you're wrapped up with. And then when the time comes, we take those realistic steps towards a better situation. It could be more than one for oneself, but it feels like you're thinking about progressing, just moving forth towards the better. But at times throughout the month, don't be surprised if you're so busy, so wrapped up with all that you have to accomplish, all of the people you're communicating with, right? Things just flowing in the right direction for you for the most part, the money flowing in, right? The good fortune and the lucky chances at hand, that you almost don't focus on the negatives at hand. But there will be moments throughout the month where you just can't help but zone in on the imperfections, and that's also purposeful. Don't let that get out of hand though, right? And don't let it distract you so much that you don't remember what you have to still accomplish, or just the positives, right? The silver lining once again. But we're beginning the month in the spread with the Star card. Beautiful. A major arcana, a reminder as I hid the word the, you're a star, right? In your own individual way. But let's further clarify this. I sense that the beginning chunk of the month, especially the beginning, stepping into February, you're finding oneself wrapping up with a sense of vulnerability, putting yourself out there, getting your voice out there, your creations, potentially wrapping oneself up with a new hobby, or just the continuation for some of a side hobby or a new job. Feels very successful, all right? And I feel like people are just, they're saying enamored, or just feeling, again, drawn to your star energy. And I feel like this is helping you. But there's a reminder throughout this part of the month, in order to take care of others, or just to help others because you're caring nature. I did get the Queen of Cups at first from the Tattoo Tarot. You need to water one's well-being, right? Take time to rest at certain points if you have that option. And you do at certain points, right? If you think about it as a whole, take a step back. They're saying at times you may not want to, but you need to also remember to maintain your self-care routines to fill the cup, one's cup, to fill the cup of others, basically, right? I feel like there's a lot of communication throughout this month, a very Eight of Wands vibe. Look at that, Eight of Wands, all the meanwhile. And so it might feel like you're moving at a comfortable pace for the most part, but then there's certain parts of the month where you're speeding forth, you're doing things quicker, you're just bouncing from one situation to the next, one task to the next, getting things accomplished with ease all the meanwhile. But then other factors make you need to catch your breath, or just affect you, or just you need to catch your breath in general because of all that's going on, all that's on your plate. Breathe, Taurus, breathe. It's going to benefit you greatly to meditate, to reground oneself, to they're saying sleep in occasionally, but it feels like a very sort of waking up and getting things done quickly early on, and then just keeping it going throughout each day of the month for the most part, right? But the King of Wands, to clarify the Star card, you might be feeling overworked as well, because the Devil card did come out on top of that to step into the month of February. But I feel like as well you're dealing with certain toxic people, or one in particular, or certain levels of unhealthy energy, or just could be the way a situation is run or kept up with. And that could be tying into you maybe wanting to make a change moving forward, or just having to cope. But the King of Wands for the Star card, because I feel like male or female, this is your energy stepping into or continuing through this first chunk of the month. Feeling very passionate, very confident, to say the very least. A bit of a chin-held high way of being, and this is playing into the confidence that people have when it comes to trusting you, right? Viewing you, working with you, or working above you, right? And viewing you as a star all the meanwhile, even if they haven't worked with you for long or viewed you for long. It's a sense of you just as well having confidence and passion in regards to your future, even if things don't feel perfect at this time or haven't been up until this point. And I feel like they haven't, right? At least thinking about your past. But another King of Wands, didn't even notice that? Moving on to the middle of the first half of the month. And I feel like there's no shortage of confidence. This wording keeps coming up at this point in each reading. No shortage of confidence and passion shifting into the middle of the first half of the month. But let's further clarify. Any moments where you do shifting from this point, the first part to the middle of the first half of the month, the middle of the first half of the month, any points in general in the month where you catch your breath or just stop speaking, it's going to feel so refreshing. Keep that in mind. But the Four of Cups and the Queen of Cups. So a focus in the middle of the first half of the month on your passion, your confidence, but your bold, caring nature all the meanwhile. And how there are hints of emotion towards wrapped up in what you produce, develop, what you put out there into the universe, right? Even what you provide other people, just what you accomplish. But all the meanwhile, you're being reminded of what's not meant for you, whether it's more in regards to your past, people that pop back up, people you work with. But there's this sense of you just putting in the work and doing it well, right? I mean, no shocker there when it comes to a Taurus, but it just feels like, I want to say even in the middle of the first half, there are certain levels of patience once again. Let's say the first half of the month in general, when it comes to certain factors outside of you, when it comes to your own habits even. But let's be smart as to what we're wrapping oneself up in, how we're balancing things out based upon our past even, what we've dealt with, and just, I want to say, minimalize overconsumption, right? And don't overspend at this time, even if you're making more than you once were. Let's clarify the Temperance to make our way to the end of the first half of the month. Ooh, the Nine of Cups. There's a level of patience needing to come into play in regards to you moving towards a wish fulfillment. I feel like there is a sense of a little bit of stubbornness in the spirit, the eyes of spirit when you make your way to wrap up the first half of the month. There's a sense of you ready to fill that last cup, right? I want this ideal situation. I want this ultimate success. I want this sponsorship, okay? For some, I want to see oneself moving forth towards ultimate success, however that looks to you, right? However you view that. But again, I'm getting the sense of you needing to continuously fill your own cup up in order to help other people, in order to see that success come to be. But it's this feeling that you kind of want to keep going, right? I honestly feel like Spirit's saying you need to take a deep breath and balance things out as you accomplish, develop, and take on more potentially, or just want to continue what you have at hand at this time. But it's a sense that certain reminders will come through, whether it's due to a lack of hydration, right, depletion, reminders from Spirit in other ways that you just need to take care of oneself. But there's a reminder that you need to have patience when it comes to a sense of balance, when it comes to this wish fulfillment, however it looks for you, all right? I also did get the Ace of Swords and the Nine of Wands to further clarify that Temperance card for the end of the first half of the month, rather. And so I feel like there's clarity coming in. There's thoughts of future new beginning you desire, if not multiple. But again, you're feeling like this Nine of Wands in a lot of ways, feeling a bit burnt out, overworked, just a bit affected by certain factors of what's at hand. But Spirit's saying it's nothing you can't handle or cope with, or it could be more so certain obstacles. And they're being drawn back to this card. You bring light to this world. Remember that, all right? Even when you're feeling depleted, people desire you, people crave you, and you're just a star in the making. But I'm not going to take this. We will take this, though. You begin the second half of the month, you shift onto this point of the month, and we have the Emperor and the Chariot. So there's a sense of you feeling very motivated. It's almost a sense of renewed energy, however that comes to be for you, whether it's you take a break, it could just be a day or two, it could be something coming to be success-wise that gives you a sense of renewal and motivation, right? Energy, it kind of keeps you moving forward. They're saying a spark of energy. And you feel motivated to create, develop, do what you have to do. And I feel like whatever ends up coming to be as far as your developments, your creations, your accomplishments, being aligned with the star card, you see oneself being reminded you're a star in the making. It reminds you to keep your wishes, your goals in perspective, but to keep them realistic in your view of your future, right? To believe in what you're capable of all the meanwhile. As I feel like people are seeing you as somebody who can go the distance, who is a bit of a leader and just a trendsetter, right? And who has reminded them they can go the distance as well. I'm getting the message of wings, right? Being drawn to the word wings on the abracadabra card. You're being prepped to fly towards more, right? And there's a sense of a lot of Taurus is drawn to the reading being viewed as very angelic as well. A bit of a walking light in this world. Let's just put it that way, right? A real life angel. Beautiful. But I feel like through the creations, the developments in the beginning of the second half of the month, you're reminded that you deserve your ultimate happiness, your ultimate fulfillment in one, if not multiple, ideal situations for oneself, right? And you deserve to connect to people in a very fulfilling way through it all. And I feel like even in the beginning of the second half of the month, there's certain knowledge that flows in and even through oneself towards other people that feels very, very significant in one, if not multiple ways. We're moving on to the Three of Pentacles for the middle of the second half of the month. Bear with me as this flew onto the ground. The Five of Wands. Okay, so you're still dealing with a bit of chaos, right? It could even be that some of you are dealing with certain levels of attention in the middle of the second half of the month that takes a highlight, that even brings certain naysayers or negativity, right? Criticism. But Spirit's saying when you're being put in the spotlight, right? You're meant for a bit of fame and fortune, or just things are transitioning in a more popular direction or just more successful direction. Sometimes that comes to be. It could be more surrounding you when you're working, but I wouldn't be surprised either way. What else do we have? The High Priestess. I was just getting the message of either way, make sure you're trusting your intuition, and that kind of tied into me not taking the Five of Wands, even though we spoke upon it. So naturally, you're going to have to dig for that inner strength as it go outside of the frame. But you're being viewed as very strong through all of the BS you deal with, right? All that you accomplish and develop, but very good looking and kind of poised all the meanwhile, very grounded, but very spiritually connected through it all. The middle of the second half of the month, for some drawn to the reading, does highlight that you are being viewed as somebody who has a very strong intuition, but for some as well, at the very least, very strong intuition, right, as a Taurus, but for some, a very strong spirituality. And I also heard strong personality, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and what you've been through has definitely pushed you to give off that sort of way of being. But I also feel like the middle of the second half of the month does highlight certain levels of spiritual messing with for some, given I could not spit out those messages. But I do feel like you're also being viewed as somebody who has the ball in their court, right? You might be noticed for your predictive nature. But either way, we're moving on to the end of the month where we have the Hermit card. Let's further clarify this. So certain levels of alone time being highlighted as important, beneficial in this last chunk of the month. But we have the King of Pentacles. So we're beginning and ending with a king. So naturally in touch with your masculine side, male or female. But I do feel like you're focused on your money, focused on your pentacles, your career, to wrap up the month, being viewed as a strong, independent leader, right? One who has mastered their alone time for the most part, or fully. But I do feel like this is a last chunk of the month where you're naturally seeing one's your fruits of your labor, bear with me, shining for you to see, and for some, for all to see, okay? There's a sense that you still have to have levels of patience to wrap up the month in regards to outside factors, what you're dealing with, all that's on your plate. You could be balancing out more than one situation for oneself, or even when it comes to or what you're trying to acquire moving forward. But it just feels like you will be wrapping up the month feeling strong and confident and seeing success very evident for oneself, a level of good fortune and luck all the meanwhile, but you're still a bit burnt out, a bit overworked, right? But all the meanwhile, Spirit saying this is a very successful month, full of, again, fantastic good fortune, lucky chances, and you're being reminded you bring light to this world through your work, through your choices, through your energy. And Spirit saying you're a star in the making who deserves all of the attention, the success, and the wish fulfillments that lie throughout this month, but even more so moving forward. All right? So I hope this was truly helpful. Sending you so much love and light. Go enjoy your month, and I'll definitely see you next time.